the new Black Wall.
All right, guys. So I'm having a whole bunch of problems here. So give me just a second. So here's what I'm going to have to do. We're going to have to do something a little bit different. I'm actually have to bring George in to hold us down. I'm going to have to do a reboot. And I know we're supposed to get started. So I'm going to let George talk to y'all about whatever he want to talk to y'all about for the next 5 minutes. Because I need to do a reboot so I can make sure I can bring everything in. So I'm going to go ahead and let him in here so I can take care of that because I don't know what's going on this end. So yeah, but here's the thing. Y'all got to understand, whenever you're about to do something great, you're going to run into some obstacles. You just got to keep going through it. And that's what we're going to do, man. So let me bring George in here so I can do a reboot on my PC. I appreciate you, George. What's up, man?
What's going on?
All right, I'm let you have it for a little bit, brother.
So are we going to stay connected? Oh, it looks like we're going to stay connected. Welcome, everybody, to Black Man Monday. I'm an honored guest, honored to be here. You've probably seen me on Boss Talk Radio. You've probably seen Evan over there on Boss Talk Radio. But we're going to get it in tonight. We're going to talk about all things financial. We're going to talk about taxes, PPP, my background, what I'm doing, where I'm going. We have another special guest that's going to come on right after me, and he's going to talk about some financial planning and insurance and things of that nature. And we're just going to blow you all away with the wealth of information. Be sure to go ahead and give StreamYard your name so that when you ask questions or whatever, we can shout you out properly or whatever and answer your questions according to name. And make sure we get everything in. Grab your pen, grab your paper, or your recording or whatever you do these days. I forgot I'm old. I say pen and paper and everybody talk about me or whatever, especially my kids. So whatever cloud devices y'all doing to catch this game, we're dropping gems in here tonight. And we ain't gonna hold back. So let's go ahead and get those questions in. If you're watching on Facebook and you're catching the replay, be sure to put hashtag replay. If you're watching live right now, please go ahead and share the video. Let's get everybody in. Let's have an impact tonight. So I'm gonna open it up and talk about some stuff while we're waiting for Evan to go ahead and bring us back in and get us back on format. So a little bit about me. My name is George Dandridge Jr. I'm an enrolled agent. For those of you that don't know, enrolled agents are the only federally licensed tax practitioner that can represent any tax matter in any state across the United States. Mostly what I do is tax resolution. If you've heard those crazy commercials where they tell you if you have 10 grand of tax debt or more, you can go ahead and call them. Thing is that they make guarantees without having your information, which is kind of crazy in the grand scheme of things because the Internal Revenue Code is open for everybody, but there's a process that you have to manifest in that situation. For example, well, the first thing is if you get mail from the IRS, do not sit it to the side. It is not going to go away. It is what it is. You need to get that thing open because a lot of times there's timelines that affect your taxpayer rights. And in doing so, you can limit what options that you have. So you want to get that thing open right away. But that's one part about what I do. The other thing that I do is support small businesses through operational strategies. That is what the acronym BOSS is for. That's what Boss Talk Radio is all about, bringing other entrepreneurs on. Because what we find is that in this social media age, everybody wants to be an overnight entrepreneur. The reality is overnight takes about 10 years. And most people don't have the intestinal fortitude to hang on that long. So we give you a little bit of information about how to do that. Everything from properly setting up your structure, payroll, bookkeeping, This past year was really intense about that because we got an overwhelming amount of calls, but for the wrong reason. So I'm a firm believer that tragedy, there's always a blessing in tragedy if you kind of tune in. If you can get out of your own pity thing, there's always some success in some lessons rather in tragedy. I remember right after Katrina, some people that had never left the city of New Orleans prior were blessed to find that no matter what they did while living there, they were able to make more money doing it somewhere else. Well, we have the pandemic. Let me remain politically correct. So we have this pandemic, and the world it's not going to go back to the way it was, even if, we kind of curb the pandemic or flatten the curve, whatever they call it. It's not really going to go back to, quote unquote, the way it was. The reason being is because businesses globally had to adapt and overcome. And in doing so, an amazing thing happened in 2020. One, they had increased productivity with lower overhead. So some of you, unfortunately, that may have lost your jobs, etc., you're not going back to work to that place, and it may be hard to find a job in that particular industry. You may want to consider looking at some new skills, particularly in the IT and financial markets, which just go together, especially going forward. If you're not familiar with blockchain, I suggest you get familiar with that because it is integrating into our society at a rapid rate, and it will continue to until it is the secure way of conducting any type of transaction at all. So get familiar with that. Business Operations Success Suite also does the tax planning and make sure that you're compliant with all types of tax matters, from sales tax, estimated quarterly taxes. If you guys have questions on that, go ahead and put your questions in the comments. I'm going to pull up on here so I can see what the comments are. Give a shout out to Miguel Thornton, Amari, Timothy. Thank you guys for joining us. Yeah, I let that slip, pandemic. I meant to say pandemic. I remain politically correct. Our business attorney is in the building, Mr. Aaron Cartwright. How you doing tonight, sir? So we have a lot of cool guests in the building checking things out this evening, and soon we hope to get into the format. If not, we might run over an hour tonight. I'm here for it. I don't have anything left to do on that. But back to me, the other thing that I do that I strongly believe in is using life insurance to create generational wealth. We have to get out of that paradigm of the uncomfortable conversation or the paradigm of life insurance being for burial. Imagine this, if you would. Picture this. If you are 40 plus and do not have the benefit of still having your parents here, imagine how life would have been different at the moment you had to deal with that demise if you also were blessed with, say, $250,000. It's not going to make you rich, but it take a whole lot of weight off. See, life insurance is not about you. It's about the ones that you're leaving behind. And an interesting thing happens whenever I ask anybody about their why. Oftentimes they say they're doing it for their kids. And yet this is not something that's in place. And this is how we can close the wealth gap and not take the next 8-9 generations to do it. We can really shorten that curve. It's really the answer to a lot of things. Last year, we were dealing with a major outcry. I'm not going to leave the politics aside on that about how I felt the response or what caused the response. But we dealt with George Floyd and a couple of others that were, killed by cops. And what was interesting is the same solution. Imagine this. Imagine just like you're born, you get these two things. You get a birth certificate and a social security card. The rest is on you and your parents, right? Imagine if you got a birth certificate, a social security card, which is just a debt bond, but also got $1 million life insurance. Like you didn't have to pay for it. We talk about reparations and how we would achieve reparations, how we can bring, reparations about. And it's almost not really, but almost a silly discussion, because you would have hell and a half trying to decipher how that thing would be dispersed and how it would be properly executed, and those that should actually get or whatever. But again, imagine at birth having $1 million life insurance policy that you didn't have to pay for. That would solve the reparations issue, just when we're talking about gains and interest and, growth inside of the policy, especially with living benefits that allow for those of us that are up in age, 40 or better, to have resources available to deal with any late life illnesses or whatever without crippling our retirement or crippling our estate that we've worked for. There's this unspoken war going on between the employed and the business owners or self-employed. It's an unnecessary war, but it's kind of unstated and it's out there or whatever, because their views are different. One side says, hey, it doesn't make sense to have, to go to work for 40 or so odd years and then, retire with and wait till do that travel and so forth and so on. There's a part we don't talk about. Imagine this, if you would. Picture this. A lot of you are experiencing this. You're somewhere between 35, 45 years old. You have a kid coming out of high school going to college, and you have a parent that has gotten ill or can't sustain themselves physically or whatever. You're at the highest earning point of your life, but you're not able to save the way you intended to, because your money is going out both ways, taking care of your priority, mind you. What are you going to fall back on? And some of you are aggressively saving and investing and so forth and so on. And the number one question that I get, and I'm glad T. Priester is coming on after me, one of the biggest questions I get is, where and how should I start investing? Well, I'm not an investment specialist. That's outside of my wheelhouse. I'm not even legally allowed to do that thing. But I will tell you this. If you're investing and haven't invested in life insurance, the type of life insurance that can really benefit you in multiple ways, take care of yourself and your family, and protect all that you've worked for, you're not ready to start investing. So anyway, you can see me on any given morning. We have a segment to Boss Talk Radio. There's Boss Motivation, Boss Term of the Week, Boss Tax Tips, and my favorite 5 minutes of fire, where I get to let the tongue go and not be politically correct and say stuff like the pandemic. And then our regular show where we bring on our guests on Fridays at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Want to thank you guys for falling in this evening. Let's see who else we have in here. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Miguel from my hometown, New Orleans, 504 in the building. So since I'm in here, let's see what kind of questions we have. My man Evan just dropped in, I think, on the live. He has some issues bringing everything up or whatever. Unfortunately, I don't have controls, because I could have just brought T. Priester in and we could have kept this thing going, and did the interview with him. So let's talk about the very interesting tax season that we're about to have. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not what you're used to. Couple words to the wise. If you normally do your taxes yourself in anything in your life has changed in 2020 as it relates to a transaction, don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you are used to using free software online, that largely requires you to do it yourself, but then you have to pay to ask questions. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So I know what everybody wants to talk about. Where my stimmy at? Where my stimmy at? So if you do not have your stimulus check as of yet, if that thing has not been deposited, don't be alarmed. Your government made a mistake. Oh, that's so much better. So back in March or April, whenever they did the first one, they had the issue with the people that use bank products, so forth and so on. They swore they were going to have that fixed this time. They did not. So those different banks are working with the government to, one, send that money back and or directly send checks. Therefore, the government pushed the filing date, the starting filing date, back to February 12th. And the reason for that was so you wouldn't get caught double dipping and have a tax consequence later on. So what they're committing to is that if you have not received it, you should receive it by February 2nd. Now, that doesn't apply to everybody. There are some extenuating circumstances to that may cause you not to get yours or whatever. Like you may not have filed, may not have filed timely. You may have moved. You may have closed a bank account. A number of different things. However, if you do not receive it by February 2nd, you are not out of luck. You'll be able to claim it on your tax return. And in claiming it on your tax return, it's going to have one of two effects. It's either going to increase your refund, or if you have a tax liability, it's going to reduce your tax liability. So that's a good thing. And also, one of the things that I'm finding out in this past week is that some people are receiving smaller amounts, and there's some confusion about, hey, did they hold this for a tax liability, a student loan debt? The answer is no. If you received a lower amount, then you still need to address that on your tax return. All the more reason to hire a tax professional. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so at 866-235-4838. That's 866-2ELITE8. Or visit us at elite8financial.com. We have a completely virtual process. We have clients all over the country, including Hawaii, for that matter, overseas too. So my man Evan is back in the building. Bring him back to the stage, Mr. Evan Jefferson.
All right, man. Let me tell you guys something, man. This is the kind of stuff you go through when you're doing something great. You're going to run into some stuff. So, man, I had to switch browsers. I mean, I've been back here battling, trying to get back on Black Man Monday, but it is what it is. We're going to wait on Chief Priest to come back in. Hey, but don't worry, guys. We still got an intro. We still got all that stuff. George, the boss, was just handling it down, holding it down like bosses do. So anyway, this is Black Man Monday, George. I'll bring you right back. Appreciate you, this is what it's all about. The brotherhood is all about. You know, your brother, you know what I'm saying? He was down for the count, and the brother stepped in and just did what bosses do, man. That's what it's all about, man. So give me just a second, man. Let's get this intro going. I know it's halfway through the show, but we still got to do it anyway, because this is how we operate, man. Hey, welcome to Black Man Monday. Make sure you hit that like button, that share button, all that good stuff, man. Matter of fact, tag a brother, because it's all about brothers being brothers doing what they do in their space, right? And so here tonight, man, it's all about connecting networks to networks. So as you guys have heard from George, and we'll talk more to him, and also hopefully bring in T. Priest. Looks like he probably had a disconnect as well. Maybe something going on with Google, because I had to bring up Microsoft Edge, and I don't never use that. That's kind of what took so long. But at any rate, this is New Black Wall Street, Black Man Monday. Y'all know what time it is, guys. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black
I think it's going to work. I
Do
don't
it
know if
right,
that's going to work
Bill
either. Okay, that worked. Because it gets to work.
The new Black Wall Street.
Master, what's up?
The new Black Wall Street.
Do it right, build wealth, live life, economic empowerment, real tips, insight on the new Black Wall Street. It's on the new Black Wall Street. Here's your host.
The new Black.
Lord, man. Oh, my goodness. I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks so much for joining, man. In the comments below, love for you to share where you're connecting from, what city, what state, what country, quite possibly, what city, what state, what country, broadcasting across the World Wide Web into Facebook and also YouTube. And that's a key word for me, worldwide. We are global, baby. And so we want to make sure that what we're doing is we must become our own media, right? We must become our own media. They put enough stuff, enough trash, enough garbage out there that we keep watching for some reason. But when we start talking about uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging one another, we tend to check out. Well, that's what this show is about. It's about uplifting, inspiring, and encouraging the black man. Because here's the deal, black man. You are absolutely phenomenal. You're king of the jungle. You're on the mountaintop. And we got to keep leading by example, leading by doing, not just talking. And that's what we got to get to today. And so I'm going to lead this off with something that came from my father. He shared with me. It's a famous poem that he shared with me. Said this is something that helped him grow up. And probably was a time where I was a little rambunctious. And he just said, read the poem, son. And one day I read the poem. And I'm going to share that here with you today, especially for our brothers, because that's from my father to me, and it's from me now. Oh, maybe I got to bring that up too. Oh, Lord, I got to bring it back up. I had it up, people. Believe me, trust me, I had it up. Oh, well, when you get thrown off, don't you? Anyway, that poem is called If. It's by Rudyard Kipling from the Brothers Square Toes, Rewards and Fairies. Let me read that to you here now on Black Man Monday. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, not deal in lies, or being hated, don't give away to hating, or yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you spoke and twist by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will, which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you but none too much, if you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of a distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. If. Now, we can do a lot with that word if, especially for our brothers here in the black community. But here's the deal, man. It's all Kipling. Yep, Rudyard Kipling. What's going on, man? Hopefully that was something for you, man. Tag a brother here tonight on Black Man Monday. So I'm your host, ERGJ, Certified Financial Educator, CEO, ERGJ Enterprises, ERGJ Black Bazaar, and international best-selling author of the book, The Black Billionaires Club. The book that I wrote, guys, is A Study of Black Wealth. It's a study of the 12 richest black people in the world today and how they built their wealth. And I just truly believe that if you want to be wealthy, that's a big if, you'll study wealthy people. We can find that book by simply going to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com. That's right, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Pick up your copy today. We got T. Priest. It looks like he's back. We're going to bring him up in just a second. I want to bring George back here just for a brief moment, and then we'll bring in T. Priest. I know we're a little past a little time. You heard a lot from George. We're going to bring him back, ask him a couple questions, then we'll take a break and bring T. Priest up, and we'll keep going on with our show. We're going to act like nothing happened. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man, he got to put the cap on now, Brother George. What's going on, man?
It's all good. It's all good.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for taking the helm while we was dealing with our technical difficulties. And I hope we showed some people that you just got to keep going. No matter where everybody put it down, so keep going. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep going.
Not excuses.
Now let me ask you this, George. I heard, I was listening by the way about everything that you do and that you do, and we'll come back to that as well. But you did mention a little bit about what we kind of just went through in the pandemic or pandemic. I'm sorry. But for 2020 for you, man, what was one of your biggest takeaways in your development as a businessman, as a black man, as a boss? What was one of your biggest lessons that you learned in 2020?
There's 100 ways to say it. I like the parable that says, when the wind is calm and the waters are still, set your sails. So that way, when that wave comes or that wind blows, you have momentum in place to catch it and ride it.
And what does that mean for you?
Well, what that means is prioritizing the things that have to be done in your personal life and in your business, so that when those storms come, case in point, COVID-19, you had a lot of people, specifically business owners, and I talked about this morning on Boss Motivation. You know, a lot of times people are really, really good at putting on the show. You know, it looks great, but when you peel that layer back and you dig into there, the substance is not there. You know, so you have to have the tools, systems, and things in place, and not bootleg your life or bootleg your business, especially your business, because, you know, anyone that's tried their hand at any type of business venture knows what it gets out of you. And unfortunately, what we end up dealing with is sometimes you have to have that sweat equity and that bootstrapping to get started, but you can't stay in that place. You know, you have to be ready to kick everything back into that if you really believe in it. You know, I get people all the time that's interested in having someone else invest in their business and so forth and so on, but they're not prepared for investments. You know, there's so much money out here, and there's so many people willing to take chances on startups and new businesses, et cetera, but you have to have things in a certain order. And so earlier last year, rather, when the government announced this funding through the Economic Impact Disaster Loan and the Payroll Protection Program, people were scrambling like roaches when the lights come on to get things that should just be a standard part of their business, like a profit and loss statement, a balance sheet, tax returns. You know, these were things that are just staples to any business functioning and operating as a proper business. And when you don't have those in place, it shines the light on a bunch of other things that you don't have in place, you know, business bank accounts, and the list goes on, you know. So I try to encourage everybody. There's just an amazing thing. I was blessed to, I'm not going to say I seen the pandemic coming, but I felt a shift in what was happening in the world economy and specifically in America. And I personally struggled with a decision for the better part of 4 years about whether to do a brick and mortar, because I'm from an age where I felt like I had to see that for it to be real. You know, my office is in an office park or whatever, so I'm not going to get traffic driving by or whatever. And then I thought about that and I was like, well, you know what? My ideal client isn't a drive-by person anyway. They're the people that seek out professionals or what have you. And when I did the numbers, when I really looked at where the income was coming from, it was truly on the online presence, and the office space was just more of a liability, but a necessary evil, if you would.
Oh, absolutely. And let me ask you this, man. You know, two more questions. I want to definitely get to T Preacher, and then we'll bring you back. You know, what's kind of, as we are now to 2021, man? What's next for Elite Eight? What's next for you? What's next for Boss and everything that you kind of been building or have built?
So the largest part of my focus right now is first and foremost empowering others. We're building our team. We're building a team of tax professionals, life insurance agents. We have areas available for IT and marketing. So I'm really looking to put other people in a position of success because I've reached that place where that has to happen for me to get to the next level for myself personally. I will be primarily focusing on developing the cannabis accounting side of the practice, as well as continuing to fight the IRS on taxpayers' behalf.
You said a cannabis accounting side, so you believe in this legalization is coming down, and you prepare for. You just said that
It's
you're
enough.
yeah, but your lesson from 2020 kind of stands in true what you just said. You say you're setting the sail so that the wind can kind of blow
Yes,
you.
sir.
Fantastic, man. So my last thing for you before we bring in T Priester, man, is this is Black Man Monday. It's an opportunity to uplift, inspire, and encourage the Black man specifically. Love for you to share with us your words of wisdom, from all your experience and things that you have seen that you're like, man, you really want to kind of hit the heart of the Black man here tonight.
That's deep. There's so many different directions I could go with that, and we'd end up talking till Friday on that. But from a standpoint of what I would, a message, if you would, that I would like to give to any young Black man that's watching, your point of view is going to be severely impacted by your viewpoint. Meaning, whatever it is that's around you, whatever it is that you consume, whatever it is that you spend your most time with, those are going to be the things that impact your point of view. So, as early as possible, move around, travel, change your circles. And I don't mean code switching. I'm just saying open yourself up to new experiences, cultures, and people, to the point where, you're kind of putting it out there, because we have this kind of mantra right now where it's like, okay, it's the Black man against the world or whatever. And that's not a false narrative, but at the same time, you have to make it about an individual experience for you. And as you start to change your zip code, there's a lot of people that's only impacted by what goes on in their zip code and are on TV, because TV is the furthest they are going to ever go past their zip code. But if they're channeled into something that's, let's just call it nonsense, there's nothing feeding you. There's nothing for you to grow with, so you're seeing a lifestyle on television that you believe you want, but there's nothing between that view and your mind to bring that to pass. And that's what you have to change. Find somebody in real life, find a real person that has or seem to have the lifestyle you want, and understand that being a stranger stops at hello.
Being a stranger stops at hello. Absolutely, man. My main man, George Dan. And I will say this, man. I appreciate those words. This brother right here, man, just simply just watching him has encouraged me. Has almost put a he's like a he's almost like a virtual big brother. You know what I mean? Like, especially as a businessman, where it's like, okay, he said this. Okay, I ain't got that together yet. I better get that together, because I know eventually George's gonna be like, "Did you hear me when I said that?" Even though he probably won't say that, but I feel like he's gonna probably say that to me.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that I want to tell people about the process and about myself is that, a lot of times I put information out and people get so caught up with the tongue that they miss the message or whatever. And anybody that's ever actually reached out and called me, for anything knows that, hey, if I have this information, I'm ready to give it to you or whatever. The mental abuse that I do with people online is just to create that sense of urgency, like, ooh, yeah, I don't want to be that one George talking about. But in real life, it's really a matter of, a hand up, because I had a hand up, and I'm so grateful for the many mentors still today that I'm able to reach out and touch, multimillionaires that, I can just get them on the phone right then, and whatever question or whatever I have, they're going to lean into it or whatever and bless me with it. So, of course, I have to give that back.
Absolutely, man. This is George Dandridge again, guys, from Elite 8 Tax and Financial Services. You can find the website, www.elite8financial.com. Call a number if you, again, if this is a service, a brother that you're saying you need to talk to, 866-2-ELITE-8, 866-2-ELITE-8. We'll be right back here. I want to say again, thanks so much to George. You guys that are watching here live, go ahead and put something in the comments before. Thank him, brother, for taking the time to be here. I know he's got a lot on his plate, but, we do take time for stuff like this, which is Black Man Monday. Make sure that you hit that like button, the share button, and you also tag a brother that you're saying, man, this is something you might want to tune into. We got some brothers sharing some knowledge and also uplifting you as well. Be right back after the break.
Oh, yeah.
See if it works.
Oh, yeah.
Please. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
All right, check out the Black Bazaar by simply going to the website, www.theblackbazaar.com. That's right, www.theblackbazaar.com. Afrocentric home decor, personal care products, also Black art inspired gifts. We want you guys to remember this, that once you shop Black, you never go back. That's right, man. Once you shop Black, you never go back, man. We're coming back here, man. Black Man Monday here from New Black Wall Street. And let me say this before we bring in our next guest, Mr. T. Priester. Listen, there's a lot of streaming going on right now. And if you ain't got your commercial, okay, it's time to step it up, okay? I can help you guys with that because, you know what I'm saying, it should not be a time that you go on live and you're not marketing what you do. And a good way to do that is through a commercial, okay? Your own little thing you got going on, letting people know that you're in business, they can find you and all that good stuff, right? Not just you telling about it. So anyway, just want to help you out with that. Time for the level up. It's 2021 year of recovery. Take it to a whole other level. We rock it off into a level of success. Man, I got my main man T. Priester. This brother here, man. Let me tell you something, man. He's just a cool cat. Number one, but I remember him telling me one time that he had just kind of we had been connected, and he kind of just watching my flow. You know what I'm saying? And I think what he was trying to say, he just wanted to see if I was about it. Yeah, he's before he really just made the connection, said, man, let's see what we can do together. We've done some things together. But before that time, man, he was just checking me out. And sometimes you just got to check people out because it could be a whole bunch of talk, like George was saying, and you know what I'm saying, look good, you know what I'm saying, sound good. But when you pull that onion, that peel that thing away, it ain't good up underneath. And so sometimes you got to take the time to check, let time pass by and really check people out. And I believe that's what T. Priest was doing. He was like, okay, I'm ready to unveil and really chop it up with his brother. But this brother, man, he's into business. He's also into insurance and financial, I believe financial planning. I might be saying that wrong. But he'll be sharing some information with us here today, telling us a little bit about what he's got going as well. Brother T. Priester is in the building. What's going on, man?
Yo, what up? What up? What up?
Man, I'm doing absolutely phenomenal, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here. I know in the past the whole camera online thing, you always been a back in the in the back kind of brother. So but it looked like you all set up. So you said you done leveled up too, huh?
Yeah, man. The pandemic caused me to make some changes, man. I got to keep up.
Absolutely, man. Well, there's some people here, man, who this might be their first time being introduced to my brother here, T. Priest. If you could tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do, man.
Yeah, no doubt. But first and foremost, Evan, I want to give you a shout out, man. I appreciate you bringing me on. And I did check you out for a minute, man. We've been rocking for 3 to 4 years, so everybody knows you're the real deal. So I appreciate the connection and what you do for the community. As for me, as Evan said, I'm T. Priester, a native New Yorker. Been here in Atlanta for about 12 years now. I've been in insurance I've been in sales for about 20 years. Last 16 of those have been specifically in insurance. And back in 2014, I launched my own insurance firm, brokerage, Core Financial. We work with individuals, families, and small businesses to grow and protect wealth through insurance products and services. Also, proud Black father, got some young kids I'm raising, young entrepreneurs who are positioning themselves to do some major things. Evan, you've met them, you poured into them. Again, appreciate your mentorship on that end. But that's just a little bit about me.
Absolutely, man. And let me ask you this, man. You've been in sales for quite a while, and then you decided to get into selling insurance. I mean, what really caused you to make that shift? Was it something really like you were like, this is a need, I want to make a difference here? What really kind of got you into the insurance business?
Yeah, honestly, it was something I just kind of fell into. Like I said, I was in sales. I was in customer service route sales at the beginning, where I was working with restaurants to, stock up inventory, get different products and stuff on the shelves. And a friend of mine was in insurance and, kind of told me a little bit about it. We went back and forth for about a year. And then I started looking at the income opportunity, in insurance, and paid a little attention to it, and then saw, even though it had a barrier to interest where you got to go past your exam, get your license and all that, it just looked like a real lucrative opportunity. And when I jumped in, I gravitated to it easily. I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you said in 2014, you opened up your own brokerage firm.
Yeah.
So how did you get to that space? It was like, it's time for me to go, I guess independent is a way to say it. I'm not quite sure. But what was happening during that time? He's like, now's the time. Now's the time to go ahead and make this my own thing.
Yeah, I started off as a career agent, meaning I worked under another company. I worked with big companies, Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica. And then I became a general manager, and I ran 2 offices here in Atlanta. One up in Duluth, Gwinnett County, one down by the airport. And I did that for years. And, truth be told, one of the things I saw is I wasn't able to really service my community. I mean, long story short, I started looking at how my office down south was performing in relation to my office up north. So for those of you who don't know the demographic of Atlanta, down by the airport, there are some, lower income areas. And up where my second office is up in Gwinnett is a very wealthy county in Georgia. So anytime I would have, any of their carriers, bigwigs come in, they wanted to bypass my office down south and shoot straight up 85 up north. And if anybody knows that demographic, that area, the airport was literally 5 minutes from my south office. So they didn't even want to go visit that. They would rather hop in the car, drive an hour through traffic up north, 85 to the other office, and give that office support. So I'm like, I don't really see this growing to give me the opportunity to do the things I want to do in my community. So, back in 2014, I took the information I learned, all the strategies and systems, and I just branched off and launched my own.
Man, that's that takes a little courage as well, man. And so with that being said, what are some of the things that you have been wanting to do to help the community?
Well, when you're in sales, Evan, this, it's all about the numbers if you're under certain hierarchies, right? So when I ran the office, all the higher ups cared about is what our numbers look like, right? Sales, 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 sales. So we weren't having the opportunity to really educate people when all you got to do is go out and get numbers every day. And I was seeing that in our community, the reason we were failing when it came to life insurance is because we were just selling it a straight burial insurance, right? And a lot of people in our community have a certain mindset when it comes to how burial insurance works. You know, when I first got started, I was living in Maryland. I was living like 15 minutes out of Baltimore. So my industry is dominated by, you know, older white male. So I was the young black face in the office. So guess where I'm going? I'm going to the hood to sell life insurance. So this was early 2000s. And I don't know if anybody remembers, there's a show on HBO called The Wire. It was based out of Baltimore. And it was crazy. You know, people were getting killed left and right. And some of that was based on what was really going on in Baltimore. So, you know, here I am going into these low income areas talking about life insurance. And they're like, look, we don't need life insurance. The city is going to bury us if we die. And if anybody followed that show, that's basically what was happening. There were so many people dying in Baltimore at the time. The city was just burning the bodies. And if somebody came and claimed it, they just got a box of ashes. So they weren't interested in any type of life insurance. They just saw it was a waste. So I had to say, you know what, let me pivot and educate people to understand life insurance is not just about burial. But again, when you're in a sales driven office, they don't want you taking the time to educate. They just want you out there selling, but that wasn't making a connection in that community. So when I did begin to take the time to educate people and show them the other benefits of life insurance, that's when I started really, you know, seeing my business grow.
And what would you say, or talk to us a little bit about, you know, what are the prerequisites, like, you know what I'm saying? Because this is a industry area that's not really kind of pushed. I would say, you know, in a public school environment, you know, it's not even pushed as a trade. I don't even think you really come across the idea of selling life insurance unless you're a salesman. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Not true.
You know what I mean? So what are some things you kind of have to, you know, do, pass, whatever, in order to even, you know, get into this space of a lucrative industry, which is insurance.
Yeah, I mean, the barrier to entry, even though it's there, is not very high. You gotta take a course, typically a 40-hour course. You can do it in person or online, and then you pass the exam. Once you pass the exam, you get contracted with the carriers and you go out and sell life insurance. And, you know, people always think that it's very difficult, but my son is 20. He just passed his life insurance test back in December, got his license, and now he's getting into the industry. So, I mean, you know, it's not as difficult as some people think. Yes, you got to put in the work, you got to study, you got to pass the exam. But after that, I mean, you know, you do your courses once a year just to keep your license active. But it's really not that difficult.
But there's some stuff that goes beyond the course, though. So I'm pretty sure that, you know, if, you know, your son or whoever comes into, you know, maybe to work with your company, you're going way beyond just, you know, now they passed the course. That's great. You got the certificate, but now you gonna go out here and make a living for yourself.
Yeah. So again, you get over the barrier to entry. You figure out what kind of insurance you want to focus on, right? Do you want to just go out and sell term? You want to sell whole life? You want to focus on IULs? You want to focus on annuities? You kind of figure out what your target market is going to be. Now, most people, when they come into the industry, they just want to sell everybody. I mean, depending on, you know, where you are, that may or may not work. I have a particular focus and I'm teaching my son to have the same. So once you figure out what that focus is, that's going to determine what products you focus on. Once you figure that out, that's when you start digging in, like you say, and doing that homework to figure out how these products work and how to best sell those to whoever your target market is. So yeah, there's more after that. But, you know, initially you just got to get over the hump and get that license. Then you dig down into, you know, whatever product, whatever community environment or whatever you want to sell in.
So I like that, man, because, you know, even at that process you're mentioning there, this word, you know, focus, figure out your niche, stuff like that, man. That could be, you know, that could be applied to pretty much any business or anybody's idea as they are maybe looking to get in business or go after their dream or pursue their passion or whatever the case may be. Now, tell us a little bit about, you know, we just came through, you know, 2020. and I see you saying, "Hey, the that time caused you to change, modify some things." What's some things that you learned in 2020? How did you have to adjust? I mean, I don't think I ever seen a mic in front of you, so this is I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So what was some adjustments you had to make in your industry, and what's something that you really you took away and said, "Man, this is a big lesson for me in 2020."
Yeah, I mean, 2020 for us was all about adapting and transition. And, luckily for me, we had already started transitioning before COVID. And what I mean in transitioning, we were working our way from being field agents, going out to see people in person to going into telesales. Because here in Atlanta, the insurance industry is very competitive. And, we have horrible commutes, we have horrible traffic. So typically what my agents were doing is they would leave the office in the morning and they would have, 6 to 8 appointments. And they're driving up and down 85-20 or whatever to go to those appointments. You may have 3 people not show, 2 people not interested, 1 person not qualified. So you're spending all day and maybe getting 1 sale and talking to 2 people. Well, when you're doing telesales, you're on the phone. And when you have the right system, instead of reaching 8 people a day, our telemarketers are able to hit 200 to 300 people an hour. So I saw that writing on the wall, before COVID even started, and started building systems to put us in place to go from being out in the field face to face to the telesale. So we already had that. We were about 6 months in before COVID hit, which was very beneficial for us because we couldn't go knocking on people's doors and meeting people face to face anymore once the restrictions started. So for us, it was all about adapting and transitioning to make sure we were able to still, effectively do our job. And we saw an actual, spike in numbers where most agencies just shut down because that's all they knew. They didn't adapt. All they knew was to go out into the field every day and see people. While we were sitting home on a dialer, setting dozens of appointments and talking to, dozens of people a day. And, we had a really good window where people got stimulus checks, people got their taxes, and then some people were getting that unemployment boost. So the excuse of I can't afford it was gone. We know you had just got a $1,200 stimulus. We know most of these people are getting taxes back. We know some of them were getting unemployment back. So we were hitting people up for like annual premiums. So we didn't have to worry about when this money ran out, policy lapsing. So we just made a lot of adjustments and we're able to just transition seamlessly into, a really solid 2020.
Everybody put in the comments, so adjust and transition, man. That's absolutely phenomenal, man. I'm super proud to hear that, man. That you saw some stuff coming down the pipe. You kept your eyes open for opportunity. You're willing to make adjustments, regardless of pandemic or not. You were willing to make adjustments, and that kind of put you in position for when what you didn't know was coming to still keep on doing what you're doing. And as we're now here in 2021, we're a whole new year, fresh start. Still dealing with some of the stuff from 2020. But what's really kind of next for you in your business or your personal life? What's really you're like, man, 2021, you're trying to get this done.
Yeah. I mean, 2021 really is seamlessly executing the plan. With 2020, like I said, we transitioned. We put a lot of systems in place. And we're really executing those like to a T this year. I mean, the focus is really execute the plan because I think, people keep talking about getting back to normal. I mean, I think there's going to be a new normal. I don't know if we're ever going to get back in my industry to the way things were being done before. I mean, we've seen some huge companies like Nationwide shut down all of their brick and mortar offices and said they're only doing, telesales and work from home. So, now we're just making sure we continue to work the system because now we have to compete with some of these bigger companies that are doing the same thing. I have to compete with a company like a Nationwide that has, a lot more money and resources than I do that is doing the same thing. So we got to make sure that, we're on point. All our I's are dotted, our T's are crossed because we don't have the room to make certain mistakes. So we got to be that much better, that more efficient in 2021. So that's really what our plan has been, is just work the plan, work the system to perfection.
Man, everybody play console, execute. Now, T Priest, and again, I'm hearing, you know, well, first let me ask you this. Are you able to, where can you do business? Are you able to do business in all 50 states, or are you only, you know, able to do business in the region or something like that?
Yeah, right now I'm licensed in 12 states. What happens is Georgia's my home. That's where my license rests. But what you get is what calls a non-resident license for other states you want to sell in. So, you know, what I did is I picked states, you know, Texas, Florida, you know, states where I know that there's a lot of people that I can reach, you know, very big population states. And then I also have some states where I just have, you know, some connections, family, you know, some business partners and things like that, so I can help them out when they come across. But yeah, for me right now, it's 12 states, but, you know, getting licensed in another state is really simple. I mean, you just go online, you fill out the paperwork, and within 24 hours in most cases, unless you need fingerprints. Oh, my camera just went out. Hold on, Evan.
We can still hear you.
Oh, unless you need fingerprints, I mean, it's fairly simple. You just go in and you get that done. You can do it all online, like I was saying. Can you see me again?
Yeah.
Yeah, my other camera battery died. So, all right, we good.
Okay. And as you again, same question I asked George, man, as you you know, consider, obviously you have a son, you said, you consider your son, and you consider the Black man in 2021. You know, this show is all about inspiring, encouraging, and uplifting the Black man to know that he's valuable, that he's important, that he's you know, that we need him. What would be your words of wisdom to the Black man in 2021?
I think I'm gonna echo something that you know, you and George touched on before he got off, where you said he was almost like, you know, a big brother. You know, I think we as Black men have to be willing to connect and be held accountable. I think that's something that, you know, we're missing in our community. A lot of us are out there, you know, trying to figure stuff out by ourselves. And for me, on a personal level, you know, where business and me, my personal growth came from is when I got mentors and accountability partners. For me, that was really, you know, the key to my growth. And, you know, I always encourage people, you know, find you a mentor, you know, find you some brothers that you can connect to and be accountable to. And for me, I think that's one of the huge keys to, you know, us as Black men, you know, being successful and getting where we're trying to go.
Man, that's right, man. Get your accountability partner, man. Find you a mentor. Absolutely. I hope those that are watching us here tonight, especially the brothers that are out there, hopefully you found your mentor. Hopefully you got some brothers, right? Because men need men. In a lot of cases, you got some brothers that you can tap into. Matter of fact, I was talking to you know, a young buck today, and I was actually talking to him in front of his mother, because I wanted to make sure that she heard his heart and heard how men communicate with each other versus how she may communicate with her son.
Right.
And that was such a powerful lesson, because we do have a lot of single mothers that are out there. And I would say to them as well, you know, find a mentor for your son, a man for your son. Give him an opportunity to be to have a man talk to him, because men, we have this thing called man talk. I don't know if women can really understand that, but we got this thing called man talk. This Black Man Monday. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to interject. I say it's not even just the way we communicate. It's modeling. You know what I'm saying? Every young man needs somebody they can model a pattern behaviors after that. And if you study, you know, development of men, young boys that don't have that really struggle to find identity. You know, you see the commercials of the father in the mirror shaving and the little son sitting there watching. That's where we're learning. And if we don't have that in the house, it really stunts, you know, the development and growth of young men. So like you said, you know, if that's not in the house, you have to find that mentor for your son to learn certain, you know, behaviors from. If not, it's going to hurt them, because they're not going to know where to get that info from. And the places that they may get it from may not be accurate. I know a lot of people, the young guys I grew up with, you know, most of the stuff they told me was wrong. you know, because, you know, I didn't have a dad growing up, and, you know, I was in the streets and I had friends, but, you know, most of that stuff's wrong. So it's very important to have that person in place for, you know, your young men.
Absolutely, man. Hey, I'm gonna bring Mr. George, the boss, back in, man. We'll have our little parting words here, and then we'll look to close this thing out. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show. Again, hopefully you hit that like button and share button. You tagged a brother because this is Black Man Monday for the homies. That's right. If it ain't no fun, my homies can't have none. George, man, I know you was listening and you probably take some notes, stuff like that, man. But you know, this may be your first time meeting T. Priester. You may have some words to share from what you heard from Brother Priester, man.
I just want to, well, first and foremost, thank him for the opportunity to hear him, and then second of all, congratulate him on taking those risks, not settling for that play, because, you know, as an agent, you can make good money over there. And I'm actually in the space now. I'm a non-captive agent because I couldn't stay with any one particular firm, because that wouldn't allow me to do what was best for my clients. But I'm actually pursuing the broker route myself now. And that's the thing, when you're in that position, you're able to empower others. And there was a lot of things that, you know, he touched on that, you know, just unifies the message. It keeps the message the same. You know, one part I hope that people really took away from that was that he didn't say he don't work hard. He said it's not hard work. There's a difference, you know, because he definitely worked hard and get it in. And I don't want people to run with the wrong messages. Oh, T. Priester told me this is real easy, but I ain't got paid yet. What's going on? So yeah, he worked hard. It's just not hard work. You know?
Absolutely, man. Anything, Brother Priester, you have for Brother George? I know you may have been in and out. When I came, you were disconnected. You reconnected. Maybe you was watching on your phone or something like that.
Yeah, nah. Hey, kudos to you, brother, for holding it down when we lost Evan at the beginning there. I was a little nervous, but you did a great job holding that down. So, and we definitely gonna connect after this. You know, I heard some of the stuff you were saying. So, in the spirit of what Evan does, we definitely need to connect and collaborate. So, you know, thanks for the opportunity, Evan.
Absolutely, man. And so for our audience, guys, this is Black Man Monday, and what I love about this broadcast is that you get a visual. You get to see right on your phone, right on your PC, right on your laptop. You get to see brothers working together, right? So we can't say it doesn't happen. All right, but it's about where we decide to tune in. Go ahead, brother.
I want to drop something else on there that I don't want to be the only one to walk away with this that T. Priester said about finding a mentor and talking about being the model and how we communicate and whatnot, and how if we don't get it, you know, we can get it the wrong way or from the wrong source or whatever. That is a big thing. And you mentioned when you said this thing about the visual, you know, it connected, because the thing is that we see these prideful images, you know, this testosterone, you know, I ain't asked that, you know, kind of thing. And when you can humble yourself outside of that foolish place, oh man, the information that's going to come to you, and information is the new currency.
Information, yeah, you better say that, man. If you don't know, what you don't know is hurting you. I can tell you that. so you might well know all that you can, learn all that you can, man. Do all that you can. Everybody putting on all that I can. Do all that you can. Hey, for the comments, for those in the comments below, or those that are watching us live, love for you to leave your comments. Again, it's Black Man Monday. Love for you to share why you love, appreciate, and adore the Black man. Go ahead and put that in the comments below. Why you love, appreciate, and adore the Black man. It's so powerful because you never know who's reading the comments. There's a lot of people that's going to be quiet, not going to type anything. They too busy or whatever the case may be. But there's some of you saying, you know what? I'm going to take this time to encourage my brothers. I'm going to take this time to let my brothers, no matter where they are or when they might see this, they'll know that I had something positive to say to help them keep along their way or help them get up wherever they may be. Brother Priester, man, you mentioned your son and that you're raising some entrepreneurs, man. And so, you know, just real quick, I mean, what do they got going on? You know, what's the ages? What they got going on?
Yeah, man, my son, you know, is a joy. He's about to turn 21 next month. At this age, he already has his real estate and insurance license. So I'm just, ecstatic. I'm so proud of him. At that age, I didn't know if I was coming or going, but he's working on that. He's helping me in the insurance business right now, and still, learning some real estate stuff since he got his license there. My daughter is still doing her bracelets. She just had her last big order this year. She closed out the year with a sale from one of the nonprofits I work with. She's 18, and they paid her $2,000 to make bracelets for their staff and followers. So they're still out there, grinding and building, and again making me proud.
Absolutely, man. George, you with child, son, daughter?
I didn't say it again.
You got any children?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, I have a couple of mini-me's in this equation. And, one of them is just die hard, want to do things in the entrepreneur way. And it's funny because I actually, he's stubborn with it, but it's such a joy to watch because when I was his age, I wasn't stubborn enough. To take that route or whatever. And my oldest son, I believe he's going to come around to this side once he go out and scrape his behind a little bit and figure out, well, you know what? Daddy made it well, I don't have to do all of this. Let me go see what he's talking about.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. Thanks so much, Mr. Islam said, man. Thanks all. Definitely be productive. I'll tap in more. Got our YouTube cleaning crew over here. Love Black Men for our tenacity. Appreciate that. Absolutely, man. Information is the new currency from Shiro. T Priest, man, got any last words before we close this thing out here on Black Man Monday?
I think I pretty much covered it. I mean, I just really appreciate the opportunity to be on, to connect, and to share. And 2020 was rough. Let's make 2021 great.
Let's make 2021 great, brother George. Any last words, man? Close this thing out.
Woo! This has been a great show, man. I had fun on here, and it's really been a true joy being able to collaborate with you brothers on the closeout. I would tell any and everybody that yesterday is gone, tomorrow is not promised. Get that thing in motion. Go ahead and make it happen.
Get that thing in motion. Go ahead and make it happen. Right. No one does like the black man, just black. Excellent, stronger together. Well, beautiful people, man, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Again, it's our special broadcast, Black Man Monday. We'll be back on Wednesday for Black Woman Wednesday. Absolutely. So make sure you tune in, hit the like button, the share button. ERGJ Enterprises across YouTube and also Facebook is where the mainstream is. And of course, you can help bring some popularity to what we're doing here as well. If you happen to be a person saying, you know what, I like what you're doing, I want to help make this thing go even further. Maybe you want to sponsor. Maybe you got a commercial you'd like to be played in that middle section as well. Well, we can also do that as well. Okay, yeah, absolutely. We can do that as well. Just make sure you inbox us, ERGJ Enterprises, and we'll do that. Until then, guys, I want you to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. Thank God.
That part.
That's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is if this thing works. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
The new Black.
It ain't work. Hold on.
The new Black Wall Street.
Oh, Lord,
The new Black. The new Black.
pressing.
The new Black Wall Street.
Thanks you for joining the show. We gave a lot of great tips, but it's time to go. Take the knowledge we shared, hope you use it and grow. We will see you all there at the next episode of The New Black Wall Street. The New Black Wall Street.